Hi, I'm John from Top Apple Studios, and today I'm here with Mr. Whippet and Earl Grey to explain to you why boars are such a great addition to your herd. So we started off with two males named Toffee Apple and Blackjack, and so I wanted to go through, because we had such a good experience with those, the pros and cons of owning male guinea pigs. Now, personally, I think males are severely underrated and they're often overlooked, so I want to hopefully change a few people's opinions that may consider getting males or having males as their only piggies, or possibly even introducing a male into their already established female herd. The biggest selling point for males, and the main reason that we like them so much, is how friendly and easy to tame they are. Now, with the males that we've got, I've always been able to put my hand in there and stroke them on the top of the head just like this, and they don't recoil. Now most of the girls they will all come up and sniff my hand expecting food, but if you put your hand in and try stroking them, all the females that we've had typically tend to recoil, whereas the males just sit there and actually crave it. Earl especially, like if I'm stroking Mr. Whippy, he will come over and say, "What about where's my stroke?" So that's one of the main selling points, and I think it's a lot easier to get the guinea pigs like that are male. The other thing is with the taming. Every one of us males, apart from one, have been extremely tame. The only one that wasn't was Blackjack, but he did have a severe anxiety problem. He'd just have random bouts where he would just scared of everything, and then other moments he would be fine. We never really got any closure on that one. We believe it was a neurological disorder, but we can't really say anything about that. Now the other one is Mr. Whippy. When we got him, he was so feral. He would jump at the slightest movement, even his own shadow he was frightened of. And the thing was, he was left in a greenhouse on his own with very little human interaction, and there was a lot of dogs and cats in the area, and dogs were barking all the time, things like that, so he would have been absolutely terrified. We spent a good 2 weeks doing all the taming techniques, just handling him a lot, picking him up, putting him down, things like that, and he came around, and now he's an extremely affectionate guinea pig. Even a guinea pig male as feral as he was will come round and be very, very friendly with him. Also, males tend to be really adventurous. Like whenever we do floor time or let them out, Earl will just take himself for a walk, go exploring whenever he feels like it. Sometimes he'll just lay down somewhere. Like he used to be a favourite spot was his radiator, but now that the girls have sort of commandeered that, he just goes and explores. He'll go down the corridor, walk into the office. We have to keep an eye on him though, make sure he's not getting into anywhere where he shouldn't, but he is quite adventurous in that way. Now the girls, they don't tend to come out very often on their own. They tend to wait for one of the boys to come and start walking around the floor, and then they will follow them out. The only exception with that is now, because they've been to the radiator that much with Earl, they've kind of commandeered that spot and like to lay under the radiator as well. Another pro is that the males do tend to be bigger, and this can, in my opinion, allow them to be handled more easily. Like if you've got a slightly larger guinea pig, you can hold them and they don't feel as fragile as like a smaller guinea pig. So this may be better for like a family if you've got children that want to interact with the guinea pig. You may be able to catch them easier and hold them better while the children go and pet them. And the final pro that I can think of is males make a fantastic addition to a female herd, but make sure that they are neutered. Earl and Mr. Whippy live with two girls, and we see a lot of their personality come out around the girls, and we see a lot more of their natural behaviours. An example of this is like if Mr. Whippy is sleeping in the cage and the girls are in the same part of the cage as he is, and then he wakes up, he will instantly start rumbling as if to say, "I'm up and I'm here and I'm all sexy for you." Right, now I want to talk a little bit about the cons or supposed cons that owning a male can bring. Now, one of the biggest ones that I hear about is the smell, and this, to me, is false. If you're on top of your cleaning and you're doing your regular spot cleans and cleaning them out properly, then I don't think you'll ever notice a smell. We have never noticed really much of a smell. The only thing I can think is that males do tend to scent mark more often, but this can be alleviated by having them neutered. Now, just a quick touch on neutering. There is a few things that we recommend having them neutered anyway, because it can avoid certain problems in later life. But there are two ways that they do the neutering. There's the direct way and then there's the abdominal way. Now, if you go to an exotic specialist, ask them to do it abdominally, because Mr. Whippy had his done that way, and he healed so much better. There was no infections, whereas Earl had it done directly and he got a massive infection down there, and it's because the surgery is very close to where he pees and poops from, so obviously it's going to get caked up that way. So when we had that done with Mr. Whippy, he healed in no time. Also, if your vet offers it, ask for the laser scalpel as well, because that can cut down the healing time drastically as well. Another con that we hear is that males are aggressive, and some people even say that they need to live alone, which that's a blatant lie. All guinea pigs thrive in at least pairs because they are herd animals. So we've always found that the males that we've had have bonded perfectly. We've never had any issues bonding males. Now, they do have the rumble strutting, which Mr. Whippy does a lot, and he does get a little bit humpy sometimes, but for the most part it's not really an aggressive thing. It's just part of him being who he is, because he will popcorn and run about and be a bit silly afterwards and make a lot of noise. Where are you going? Let's be train of thought now. You. Okay, so after Mr. Whippy's rude interruption, I've put him away. I'll continue on with the aggression. One of the things that we found that we see is when people bond them, they try to bond them straight away before the guinea pigs have time to acclimatise to their environment. So one of the things that I think that you need to do is meet all the needs, give them plenty of space, make sure that they're well fed and that they've got used to each other. One of the things that we do before bonding is that we will take some hay out of each of the guinea pigs' cages and swap them over so they get used to each other's smell. That when you do actually bond them, when you first start to bond them, they'll be used to that guinea pig smell, and usually they bond pretty easily. Earl is an unusual case because he will bond with anything. You could put him in the cage with any guinea pig and he's instantly bond. There's no rumbling, there's no aggression from him or anything. He's a bit of an unusual case. I've heard the term Buddha boy for him, but he's a bit of an unusual case. But the rest of them, they've all took time to bond. Tea Cake is the one that takes the most time to bond, especially with other girls. But if you do what we've done, meet all the needs, he does become very easily, but they bond very easily. Another common con that people talk about is the fact that they're territorial. I've found that all guinea pigs are territorial in the same amount of way, but provided you provide them with everything they need and make sure all their needs are met, you will be fine with them. What I would recommend is at least one hide per guinea pig. Usually I would say plus an extra one, because then they've got the choice. Either a large A area or like an A feeder that can provide multiple areas for the guinea pigs to get to, so that like they don't get in each other's face, because sometimes they just want a bit of space away from each other. You'll know yourself, you'll have people around you and they could do your head in for a bit and you think, I need a break from these, and you can just walk away. So you need to give that option to the guinea pigs as well, because sometimes they just need a break from one another, but then they'll come right back to each other and they'll be fine. Okay, the next one's a bit of a messy one, and this is the one that I do hear that a lot of people get put off by, and that is bore cleaning. Now, bore cleaning is something that some piggies need, but not all. Earl is the only one that we need to actually do the cleaning for, and he doesn't need doing that often, usually about once a week. And when he is ready for it, he will let us know by being a little bit crying, a lot more hiding. I like to hide away a lot. So, but once he's been cleaned, he will come back to his normal self and he will be straight back and he'll thank you for it. He doesn't like having it done. We don't like doing it, but we know it's a necessary part, and like once it's done, everything's all better for him. So I will keep doing that for him because it makes him happy. Now, girls you don't need to do that with, but there are problems that girls can get that are quite common that males don't get. Most girls are prone to ovarian cysts, and there's lots of different types of ovarian cysts that they can get. Some don't impact them that much. You might get a bit of hair loss and things like that, but others can impact their life, cause them severe pain, and eventually it can cause them to have a much shorter life. So there are pros and cons to both boys and girls with the health issues. Leading on from that one, we also have impaction. Now this is a problem that typically affects males, but more typically it's the unneutered males. We had that problem with Toffee, and we got told by the vet, because of his age and because of the size of his cherries, that it was it was, as well as having a weaker muscle in that area, the cherries were also creating gravity to stretch his pocket, because boys have a pocket in that area. And what was happening was that the poos weren't being pushed out and they was getting stuck in the pocket, and that caused the impaction. And once he'd started with that, I had to clean him out every day. And while it was a messy, smelly job, it really didn't affect Toffee too much in terms of his health and his overall ability. It was just literally he just needed that a little bit of help every day just to clean his pocket out, so that he could have a normal life. It didn't really cause him any pain or anything like that. We was considering having him neutered at the time, because that's one of the things that the vet said could help him a lot and maybe cut it down a bit. But unfortunately he passed away before we could have that done. And the final health issue, or con, is bladder stones. Males tend to have more difficulty passing the bladder stones because the urethra is much thinner. Now, we've never experienced bladder stones in any of our guinea pigs, but I do see it crop up on forums every now and again, and it seems to be in as many females as it does with males. It's just that males have more of a difficulty passing them. But what causes the bladder stones is a build-up of calcium in the bladder. So if you feed them too much calcium-rich food, then that's where they will get the bladder stones from. So it's best to just make sure that you check what they're eating and make sure that you're not giving them too much calcium, and just make sure that you give them a nice varied diet, as well as a good quality grain-free nibble biscuit. So I'm hoping that I could have changed a couple of people's opinions with our little chat today. Like, I'm hoping that some of you will consider either adding a male to your herd, or if you're starting your own herd, hopefully you may start with a pair of boys, because there's so many of them available at the moment. Literally the rescues are overrun with males, and I've seen forums posts where people are literally giving the males away, and it's a shame because they make such lovely, affectionate pets. As you can see, Earl's melted from all the affection that I've been giving him. So if you like this video or found it informative, please give us a like. If you've got anything to add about boars, please leave that down in the comments. Please consider subscribing, because that really does help us out. I've been John for Toffee Apple Studios, and I will see you next time.